Pew, pew. Here we go. Stock spindle over here. And here is our dropped one ready to go on. I set these up just so you guys get an idea how a drop spindle works. There's where the stock one mounts. Here's where the dropped one mounts. You can see this is the spindle shaft, kind of behind the... But here's where the stock spindle shaft would be. And then here's where the dropped one is. It's up higher, so it drops the bus. Pretty simple. These get flipped upside down and turned around, but the spindle stays on the same side in the same orientation. The spindle itself, the kingpins get turned 180. That's why this needs to be to the inside of the bus. But let's get these things installed over here. Okay, here's our beam and our spindle all loaded up, ready to go. Make sure you get in here and get plenty of grease in there. Make sure everything's all smooth. You got plenty of on the face here, that's all smooth and lubed up. You don't have any burrs on the back because you went apeshit beating on the hell out of the link pins to get them out. Take your spindle. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna start the bottom first. Start that bottom link pin, okay? Oh, this one actually lines up nice. Usually that doesn't happen. Most often you have to push up on this bottom torsion arm so that it lines up with this top one. I got some weight on it since it's on the table. It's not in an actual bus, so this is working out a little bit better. But this one, so usually you gotta push up on that to mount that one up. But, well, this is going on entirely too easy. Tap your link pins in. Make sure everything's all the way home. Come over here and grab your 2 link pin nuts. You can just set it in there, it's not gonna fall through, and maybe it will. 17 millimeter on the end of this link pin here. Just spin it until there it goes, starts to go. That groove in that link pin is just like a screw, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So you go all the way to the right, it's gonna pull a link pin in, grease is gonna come out. Same thing on the bottom, all the way to the right. It pulls the spindle in, you can see the grease come out. Make sure that happens. And you can get your washer, split lock, and 17 millimeter nut started. Washer, split lock, and nut. When you put these on, as far as the these pinch bolts go, get this bottom, there it goes. Go through the top. Just drop them in through the top. Stock, they were came up through the bottom. When you put them in for a drop spindle, you want to drop them through the top. Makes more sense. If the nut gets lost, your bolt's still going to be sitting in there. Damn it. Once you get your pinch bolts in there, get those nuts run down till it's just not even snugged up, just so it's close to that. You still want to be able to move your link pins. Okay, this is how you adjust your link pins. I'll probably make a separate video on this too once in the bus, just so people get a better idea. But your pinch pin bolts are loose. You get on your link pin and go all the way tight, as hard as you can. That makes sure everything is seated from the end of the head of the link pin all the way up to your torsion arm. Then you back it off. Just crack it loose. I say a 1/16 of a turn in the instructions from my website, but you just want to break them loose. Just till they start to move. That lets your spindle and the needle bearing and your shims and everything, it lets it rotate. It lets this move up and down. I've had a lot of guys, they install these things. They run the link pin in, they crank down on this as hard as they can, and then they tighten these up. And then they say it rides stiff. Like, yeah, no shit. Because if you do that, all this is jammed up tight, and you don't get any pivot. There's no pivot there. You can't move. It's friction up against the arm. And then sometimes they'll hit a bump, and then it'll just, all of a sudden, their bus will drop. Because this finally let go, and it moved up. But read the instructions, watch this video, tighten them down all the way, and then just crack them loose a little bit. After that, then you can go ahead and tighten up your link pin bolts. Okay, link pin bolts are tight. You got your link pin adjusted. That's the main part of everything. The only other thing you want to look at is on your swing arm here, this bolt. You want to make sure it goes down like that. On this, it was up. The nut was at the top and the head was at the bottom. I switched those around just to make sure nothing's going to hit, to make sure everything's out of the way. That's only for 66, 67 beams that have the sway bar on. You can retrofit that sway bar to 55 and newer if you want to. If you want to run a sway bar. You get to this point, and then it's time for the tie rods. I'm doing this beam for Pedro. He's going to take care of the tie rods. I'll crawl under the panel next time I have it in the air, and I'll make a separate video just on tie rods for drop spindles, because it gets complicated for some people. And I understand that. It can be kind of weird the first time. Stock, a bus has this adjustable one on the left, and it has a fixed one on the right. What you're going to need to end up with are 2 adjustable tie rods, and with your stock split in inner tie rod ends. But out here at the spindle, you want a bay window. A bay window tie rod. That reason is it's going to come up to the bottom. A bay window tie rod is bigger. It's got more. It's a lot bigger than this little thing. That little twig. But you run a bay window tie rod up through the bottom. That way this tie rod, if you go through the top and put a drop spindle on, it's going to end up hitting your frame rail, which is not good. If your drop spindles are reamed for a split window tie rod to go through, that means you had a hack job, spindle job. If you do this as a split tie rod end going through the bottom, you end up with half the surface area here for the taper to made up to that tie rod. If you got to go through the trouble of reaming these tie rods to go through the bottom, you may as well do it right. Do it for a bay window. If you do it for a bay window, this entire surface area mates up with a taper on a bay window end. I have no idea why guys don't just ream them for a bay window. Just a bunch of cheap bastards doing a hack job, doing it with a split bus end. All right, that's my rant. So the tie rod will go through the bottom when Pedro gets this done. Over here, I've got the passenger side done, and this is the wrong way. You do not no. If you go through like this, for one, it's going to be all loose because it's reamed for a bay window, and your frame rail's like right here. You're going to hit your frame rail with this tie rod. That's why you need to have an adjustable tie rod over on this side, not the fixed one, and it's going to end up mounting up through the bottom with the bay window so it doesn't hit. That's pretty much all the major stuff. Still going to run your your speedometer cable through here. It just comes up and loops around like normal. The brakes, you're going to rotate the brake backing plate 180 degrees. Your bleeder is going to be on the top up here, and the hose is going to come in from the bottom. I just loop it up underneath the tie rods. All the way underneath. Don't try and go over. But I'll show you that on the next bus I have up in the air as far as how those go. If you have any questions, check out my website, widefive.net, and there is a PDF file on there that you can buy. You got to go through the cart to get it, and if the store doesn't send it to you, I will. But there's a PDF file that goes over how to install these spindles, the ones that I do, how I do it. Yeah, feel free to download that, take a look at it, actually read it. Don't just look at the pictures, please. The shim chart is on there. There's a little write-up on offset to measure that. You can also view the videos I've done before on offset and how to set up your shims. And then if you have any questions at all, please comments below, let me know. If you have any questions about anything, suspension related or whatever, life, women, I got you covered, buddy. Don't forget to subscribe. Videos coming up. Brandon's disc brakes going on his 66 Deluxe. We're putting a tranny and an engine in it too. And I'll see you in the next video, and more importantly, I'll see you out on the road.